You must disagree with what you find yourself in. I put on uniform when a soldier assaulted me, and I said, you put it on so nobody else assaults another young person. So contradictions are the ones that propel us forward. And so when you find yourself with challenges, the common word is challenges. In the political economy, we call them contradictions. Challenges are good. They make us innovative. Not if you become complacent, however, you become a defeatist. That's what I meant. I don't know if I answered the question. We have not gone to sleep, Obama. I may tell you, even today, I sleep an average of 3 to 4 hours every night. Achieving peace is easier than maintaining it. 2, this country has attained a status that you must work hard to sustain, both regionally and internationally. Via who? The military. So for us to sustain that status, we must keep our weight, we must plan for those coming in, we must train them so that they remain as lethal as we have been. 3, we have introduced production in our army so that those who are not at war, those who are not in training, are in agriculture. So that they grow their own food, because we have the land. They can sell whatever they want to augment their income. Our spouses can be engaged, because some of them are not productively employed elsewhere, rather than staying at home. And therefore, we are looking at expanding our horizons so that we do not always depend on the national economy. And then the engineers brigade, which we are moving to build into a division. You see that beautiful piece in the colonial airstrip? That was our product. And we're moving into building the rail line. So we are not sleeping. You can't afford to sleep if you're a soldier. If you sleep, you will be foolish. It's just like a bull that is near a cow on heat. You can't afford, can't close its eyes. So we don't. Madam, the youth are playing the pool. I agree. But it starts with us, the parents. How have we brought up our children? We make them expect solutions from elsewhere, not from within themselves. Whereas you and I know that we sweated to reach where we are, we pamper the children. It saddens me when you drive up country and they are sitting on a tarmac road. Counting cars and arguing about money. And Madam Chairperson, since I was asked this, I would like to give an example. The last trading center to Mubende, rural as it is, one time my car broke down and I stood there. And there were these youth arguing about football, counting cars, the border riders, and across the road, there was this young man busy making chapati. So I walked across to him and I asked him, how many do you make a day? He told me 5,000. He was selling them, that's about 6 years ago. He was selling them 200 per chapati. So I asked him, how much charcoal do you use? He said, one tin of 2,000 shillings. Cooking oil, 8,000. So in total, this young man was using 10,000 to make the chapatis. I gave him labor of 10,000. So in short, 8,000 he was earning per day. His colleagues across who come to buy from him are arguing football. So attitudes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would love to thank every person who has managed to listen and also contribute, and those ones who have really managed to find this panel so useful in their lives. So exercising the powers entrusted in me, I hereby close this session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
time we shall proceed with the sessions, and I will invite the director of the Leadership Center to invite the principal, to invite the chairman, to invite Honorable Sinavulia, who is representing the Speaker of Parliament, the Chairman of Council, the members of Council, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. While Peter has requested you to welcome the Honorable Member of Parliament, I think I need to again say, please join me in welcoming the in the interest of time, I'll just say that the Honourable Member will actually state the reason why she's here this afternoon. But all I will say is that Honourable Sinavulia has been working with us. She's now the chairperson of the Education Services Committee of Parliament. So I think it was most appropriate that she's here. Honorable, you are familiar with MUBS. This is one of the activities of an academic institution, cause debate on topical issues. And leadership of is something that is very important in this country, with so many LCs, so many LC1, 3, 5, and of course the members of Parliament themselves. There is need to develop leaders in this country. And the Leadership Center, which is one of the outreach centers of the MUBS, is involved in the development of leadership through training and causing this discussion on topical issues. We are here on a two-day event under the theme, Youth, Empowering the Youth to Lead the Future, and we think that the honorable people here should be able to generate some of the solutions to how to empower the youth. Allow me, on a member of Parliament, to invite the chairman of our council, Professor Baryamureeba, to invite you to open this conference. Thank you very much.
Our chief guest, the keynote speakers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The chief guest who is representing the Right Honourable Speaker has been introduced. She serves as the chairperson of the Education Committee, and one of the things she does in that committee is to receive petitions from higher education institutions in this country. So she's very conversant with matters affecting the youth. And she's also a politician. Being an MP, she deals with the youth. So I don't really have to brief on what happens when it comes to matters to do with the youth. So I'll use this opportunity to invite her. That's my... He's very much to tell about matters to do with MUBS. Since now you are the right honorable speaker, MUBS would like to become a university. And I hope you mention that in the So with those few remarks, I invite you to address us and open this conference. Thank you. Since I have requested her to make a declaration, maybe I should hold the microphone.
Thank you very much. I'm not the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, but I'm standing here on her behalf, and before I read her speech, I want to bring her apologies for not being able to come and attend this important conference. She had thought that she would be here at 11, but she had very important business at Parliament, because usually Parliament sits in the afternoon But today Parliament had to sit in the morning because we have to pass the vote on account and a number of supplementary schedules in the budget. So she couldn't be with you here, but she brings her greetings and she wishes this conference well. I now go to her speech. The Chairman Council, the Principal, the national participants, scholars, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure to be here this afternoon. I start by congratulating Professor Waswa Balunywa for the renewal of your contract. This was important for the stability of the institution and the good of higher education in the country. Professor Balunywa has led changes in the sector, and it will be good for the sector to continue to harness his ideas. I must thank you for the invitation. I recall about 10 years back, I was here opening another conference organized by MUBS. This means MUBS has been consistent in discharging its role as a university that causes discussions of issues relevant to our country's development. I'm pleased that this year, the Leadership Center chose a theme related to youth issues. Issues to deal with the youth are very important today, not only at the national level, but even at the international level. The importance of the youth agenda is highlighted by the fact that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, and that what we decide today affects them. The youth are the engine of work in any country. They are the most energetic, they have many ideas, and therefore they must be planned for and taken care of. Otherwise, they become a liability to the country. If the youth are not productive, they become a burden to the country, especially to those who are productive and pay taxes. If youth are not gainfully engaged, they become a major liability to the country. Not only are they an economic cost, but create additional unwanted costs to the economy. Youth who are not employed will become a social cost too. They may get involved in drug abuse, theft, prostitution, among others. Idle youth get into undesirable associations and may cause social unrest in society. It results in unwanted pregnancies, undesired relationships, and misery. Today in Europe, especially in Spain and Greece, youth unemployment is a major challenge. They report over 40% of youth unemployed in these countries. There are reports that the youth in these countries are engaged in undesirable activities which are visible on TV. Youth are involved in stone throwing and fighting the police on streets. There are many others that go unreported. And I may add it myself, I think today when you look at, if you all watch Akatari Kung Fu, you see the kind of youth we have in this country. So this is not common only to Greece and Spain, but it's common around the world, Uganda inclusive. No society would like to see its children on the street. No society would like to see its people without jobs and go hungry. Lack of employment translates into lack of incomes and creates vulnerability. Unemployment creates misery, and if it's among the young people, it creates despair in the country. This creates helplessness, it creates hopelessness, and people lose confidence. Without hope and confidence, the country is collapsing. condemned to poverty. It's under these circumstances that we must study the challenges of the youth, discuss them, and find final solutions. There are many solutions, and many governments and organizations have come up with many ideas and solutions. My recommendations are in the following areas. Number one, family planning. Africa has a major problem of high population growth. Africa, Uganda inclusive, must control its population growth. Let us produce children if we have the ability to feed and educate them. Recommendation number two is education. Many countries worldwide have universal primary education, and even universal secondary education and maybe universal university education. We need to strengthen our education system and add vocational training at all levels. This should ensure that young people who drop out of school can consider self-employment. The third recommendation is government economic policies. Government of Uganda should continue to evolve policies that promote and encourage business activity, especially business startup. An economy that does not have economic policies that support business is a prescription to poverty. Government should provide infrastructure and support services that facilitate young people at business. Governments and civil society should mainstream gender. There is need to give opportunity to the vulnerable, especially women and children, to enable them to express themselves and explore their skills and potential. I'm therefore pleased that this conference is looking at some of these issues. I want to commend MUBS for coming up with the theme on youth. This is something that must be fast-tracked in policy formulation if we are to have a prosperous future for our young people. What do we need to do? I hope that your recommendations can be sent to them to consider and incorporate in policies that concern the youth. I'm most keen at knowing how we can create employment in our society. Many young people look for jobs which are not there. What is the solution? How do we change the mindset of young people to look at it as job creation rather than seek jobs? I know the great minds here can put effort to finding a solution. I would like once again to thank MUBS for this conference. I know the Leadership Center is trying to help building leaders in this country. Leaders have a role of guiding followers to achieve goals. Youth affairs are a major challenge for leaders. Without leaders that think about such issues, countries cannot succeed. So I thank the Leadership Center, and especially Ms. Regis Namudu, the director, for bringing up this theme. I also know the center has other programs. You have our support in developing leadership in this country. And to all participants, thank you for coming to the conference and making it a success. On this note, on behalf of the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, I declare this conference open for God Almighty.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking the Honourable Member of Parliament for having been able to come and deliver the Right Honourable Speaker's speech. I know it must have been a very short notice because the Right Honourable had accepted to come and be with us, but it was a short notice and you've been able to be with us. We thank you so much. We would also like to convey our sincere appreciation to the Right Honorable for having accepted to come and going ahead to let you come and deliver her speech. Thank you very much.
Fun is always a thing. You are going back to work when you think that now. Yeah, I know. You also feel young like yes.
No.
All the people who are standing to take up their seats so that we open our ears for them to receive what you've come here to listen to. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm up to chair the session on the critical summit. And the work of the chair is not to talk, but to allow others to talk, and so that they talk in another way. So I have no statement to make, except straight away to ask Ajati Akwa to come and present her presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm vertically challenged. I don't think I can present from behind the podium. Does anybody, do you all see me? Yes. And do you see this? Conference. In some countries, up to 60 years, you are still a youth, and I think I qualify to be a youth. I heard this morning a statement like sky is the limit. Now to us, sky is no longer the limit. You are the limit to yourself. Yes, your attitude determines your altitude. Can you repeat that statement? Yes, your attitude determines your altitude, no longer the sky. How far up you go, your attitude. Thank you very much. We heard from Madam Apollo for God and My Stomach project this morning. The presentation from Hajat Seriala is doing all for better tomorrow. And we know that tomorrow, probably tomorrow never comes, but tomorrow, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. And Hajat Seriala is an international climate champion. And what does she do? What do we do as international climate champions? We speak out, we improve understanding, and inspire positive action in the area of climate, environment. And this is why I'm standing here to say that doing all for a better tomorrow, a case of Taksim Square. When I heard about the topic in this conference, I was inspired. And I said I should come and talk to you about what's happening in Taksim Square. Taksim Square is in Turkey, in Istanbul. And my presentation is purely pictorial. The roadmap is what was the spark of. You've had these big demonstrations in Taksim Square. And how did Turkey react with what happened there? What lessons for Uganda and others? What is the position in Uganda? What have we done as international climate champions? And what has MUBS done? Moving forward, you, what have you done and what are you going to do? That is my presentation. What you see on the screen is what happened in Taksim Square. Taksim Square is a square in Turkey, in Istanbul, which I have visited, surrounded by shopping malls, a park, and restaurants and whatever. And there was a small place reserved for trees, very, very tiny indeed, this square, called Gezi Park. And true to government, they said, by the way, do we need these trees? We need a high-rise in this place. Decided to demolish the trees in that Gezi Park. And what you see on the screen there are riot police protecting the bulldozers, trying to bring down those few trees in Gezi Park. And the people protesting, there's a statement in that picture which says, when the last tree has been cut down, the last fish caught, the last river poisoned, only when will we realize that one cannot eat money. Yes, so how many of us can stand up to this statement? As I was driving into Entebbe, I saw, something near, even worse than this Gezi Park. And I understand from the papers that this is being brought down because it's causing a security problem to some people. I don't know if that's correct or not. But after the lake, towards this end, you see that something is almost, but then none of us is standing up to say no. Let's see what happened in Turkey. That is Greenpeace movement. You see what they are doing? Then massive, those are people, they are not insects. Sorry? Those are people. So the entire square, this is miles and miles of people. Like you go to Ginger Road up to wherever, up to Umi people. You go up to Wandegaya people protesting and full because of a few trees where in Gezi Park. Uganda, what is the case for Uganda? We hear from NFA, National Forestry Authority, that every year 92,000 hectares of forest cover is destroyed each year. And they say that is a third of Mabira forest. And we sit back and say, by the way, it's business as usual. No Gezi Park here. You see the photos there, firewood, and then you see there's a forest there, whole forest on the left, which is cleared for beans. They cleared the entire forest to plant beans, because nobody has gone to talk to them about the use of the tree. And they don't say use of the tree, they see immediate use of the beans. So what have we done as champions? We have actually introduced the charcoal briquettes. The youth are doing charcoal briquettes, which you see on the left. We have also sensitized these people that, by the way, you can plant the beans underneath the trees. So we have gone there and they are replanting the trees, and the beans are beneath the trees. Then MUBS, Makerere University Business School, is really a real university business school. What have they done? Makerere University Business School have an annual day. This year it is happening on the 26th of July, 2013. Please mark it in your diary. This is a day when MUBS, there's greening MUBS. That is an event at Makerere University Business School. And what you can see the MUBS people there distributing the trees. Then that effort has seen over 100,000 trees planted. Honorable Moses High one time was the chief guest at MUBS. You can see he planted a tree, but on the left, this tree was planted less than 2 years ago. This is how it is now. So at MUBS, it's about planting and growing the tree. Okay, then Women's Day at MUBS. Are you there, Regis? Regis is not there, okay. Women's Day is green at MUBS. She's there, Regis? Oh, you are there, okay. So Regis has a green Women's Day at MUBS. Regis, you can stand up and wave. Yeah, good. So you can see Regis and the ladies there. Women's Day, they celebrate, but we also green to make sure that we protect the environment. Then this Muslim, when she heard of the store at MUBS, she came to tour what is the plants at MUBS, what is the magic. How do you people get a day that you dedicate to planting trees or to the environment? That is what you see in that one. Then MUBS principle. Principle said, by the way, we can even go to the prisons. And we went to the prisons. You see that march. You see the principle with the clergy. The principal with the clergy and staff marching to the prisons. You can see that march. When principal said we go Hajat, we go to Luzira, true we went. And the Luzira people were so excited. They actually waited for us in a band. We made a green march to Luzira prison. You can see there the prisoners, the officers are planting with the principal and some woman there in green. Yeah, what we see here, these are the inmates. I had never been to Luzira prison. I didn't even know how inmates look like. And I didn't know because, I had no reason to go to Luzira prison. Until I think that there will be no reason in the future. Because I can't be a Kazinda, not at all.
Yeah, but you can demonstrate for your trees and go there.
Oh, by the way. By the way. So I had never seen an inmate. I had never gone to Luzira prison until greening and environment took me there. You can see those smart ladies. For me, I thought the prisoners were untitled, they had bad hair, whatever. But you see the ladies there with the principal, they are very smart. And then this greening is part of the rehabilitation that we are giving them, and they hope that once you leave the prison, please be a good person and make sure that you green and you keep this environment for the future generations. And they actually sang for us. You see the prisoners there in a nice uniform singing environment songs. I think when they are there, they practice. And then there's this woman going to the youth, taking it, this is a graduation ceremony. In addition to the cake, we say, okay, please preserve the environment. Have this tree as part of the presence. And you plant it, and they have planted these trees. We keep on checking on them. That's another graduation. You see the young ones there, very young girls, they have trees. They start young. And as I said, thank you. There's that lady in black. And that is Jennifer Msisi. Jennifer Msisi was still at URA, and we went there with our greening program. And I gave her a tree and told her, Jennifer, go and grow. So I didn't know that I was even telling her to grow into a KCCA director, executive director. So that is Jennifer Msisi there. And then I said, thank you very much for listening to me. And please, what have you done? What can you do? From here you can say plant one tree or trees. Doesn't matter where you are going, maybe South Africa or wherever. And call that tree MUBS something. Or you can even call it Hajat, me presenting. So that it reminds you of the day that you are here. And as I said that we actually inspire positive action. Before I leave the podium, I'd like to give out these fruit trees to a number of people here as I end my presentation. Can I see those who need these ones. You see, wonderful. Yeah, please come. Oh, yes. By the way, I was not introduced. Please come. So, Amman International, they are actually 4. How many are coming? Oh. This is good. Okay. So I'm going to give these out, and please plant them and grow them, and talk about what you have seen here. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hand you over to the chair, the sessions this afternoon. Thank you.
Can we give a very good clap? Yes. This is another way of trying to occupy the youth usefully, so that they gain as part of their daily growth, and also they make sure that the future is perpetuated by keeping the environment in order. Thank you very much, Ajay. Now it is I call on Felix Blaja. He talked. Okay, now. Okay, we've got also a youth in the middle age, very vibrant, and has got a big future. And also, I think he sees a future for the youth. So that is the Honorable Mabikke, Michael Mabikke, and I think it's going to solutions to the youth challenges. Can you go ahead, Honorable Mabikke?
Did not prepare a text to speak from. But as you all know, politicians like me are ever ready. I was invited about 2 weeks ago to this great conference, and unfortunately I had to leave for some engagements outside the country. I returned only 2 days ago, so I was unable to prepare text, but the issues before us now are more or less obvious and are on my fingertips. So thank you for inviting me, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for this topic. But when I looked at the issue or the theme that I was supposed to discuss, youth in urban areas, the political solutions. Now, I wonder, first of all, why this topic, and why me? To give a political solution. Now, what is the essence of government? Let me start with that. Why do we elect governments? We elect governments on particular pledges and promises. And why do we pay taxes to them? Is to enable them to implement those programs that are dear to the people. Now, it is the sole responsibility of a government to plan. And the youth in Uganda are one of those important segments of our population that you need to plan for. Uganda has one of the fastest growing populations in the world. And that population, nearly 70% of that population is youth. So if you are a government worth its name, you must take planning for young people seriously. Because not only do they comprise the largest segment of your population, but they are a very important resource in terms of production. But what is happening in Uganda? And this is the reason I cannot give a solution. 28 years down the road of the national resistance movement, we see no concrete national youth policy. 28 years. Now, if the whole government we pay taxes to has failed to deliver on just a mere national youth policy, a concrete program for the young people, an individual like me cannot do it in 5 minutes. I cannot do it in 5 minutes. But having grown up in urban areas, I am urban born, urban bred, and I have represented the constituency of 10 years in an urban area, actually in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda. I know for sure that some of the youth problems include unemployment. Now, Uganda is the only country, you know, there are unique things which happen in this country. Uganda is the only country where you have both the educated and uneducated languishing on the streets looking for jobs. Your education is no ticket for employment. You have so many people on the streets in Uganda and urban areas speaking very great English, so many degrees, they don't have jobs. So one of the biggest problems now in urban areas is, of course, unemployment, drug abuse, because poor living conditions. Because the poverty syndrome is not only in the villages, it is also actually much more pronounced in urban areas. And I was debating for all the time I spent in Parliament. I used to during budget sessions, you know, when we debate budgets, I was telling, you know, the focus always, you take programs to rural areas. But I think the urban areas in Uganda need these programs more than even the rural areas. In Makinde, which I represented for many years in Parliament, it only has two UPE schools. And it has got one USE school. And when I asked the Minister of Education, you know, why are we not focusing? Why don't we have more? Because we have more population in the countryside, in the urban areas. They said, you know, we are now focusing more in the rural areas. But I think corrective action must be taken more in urban areas than rural areas. Water by water, they can access a little bit of a decent housing. And maybe here and there they can look for a job. And you know, when you go, for instance, if you are constructing a hotel like this in Kampala,